Hey mamas, welcome to the Mom on Point podcast. I'm Vallen. I will be your host every Tuesday. This is a fun, safe space where we can discuss motherhood in all its complexity. This includes loss, friendship, mental health, wellness, parenting, marriage, and as a postpartum doula, the postpartum period, and also identities. Throughout our lives, and especially motherhood, we experience so many identity shifts and changes, and I think we need more conversations surrounding the hard stuff, the things that matter most. And some of those things are really uncomfortable and no one likes to talk about it, but I do. So download this episode, play it in the car while doing errands or just hanging out at home. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's dive in. Hey mamas. Happy October. I am so excited for fall and Halloween and everything else. This month, I'm going to have special episodes on pregnancy loss because it's Infant and Pregnancy Loss Awareness Month. My experience is around stillbirth. I do know people who have lost infants. I know lots of people who have miscarriages and, of course, stillbirths. So I'm going to just go over topics that I see a lot as a bereavement doula and as a mom who lost a baby. So today we're going to talk about 5 things everyone should know about losing a baby. If you've lost a baby, you know that absolutely pretty much nobody knows how to handle it. I know doctors and nurses and therapists and things like that have an idea when it comes to pregnancy loss, how to handle it. But it's very surprising when they don't. And especially our family members and our friends, nobody knows how to handle it. So I'm going to just go over 5 things that I think everybody should know. And maybe this will help raise awareness on how we can take care of each other and take care of our women, the women in our life who have gone through these things. So the first one, grief will look different on every single mom and dad who goes through it. Me and my husband had an extremely hard time. I should probably go through and give you my whole birth story, but I will do that in a different episode. We'll just say my husband would not talk to me about it. He did not cry. He did not, it was just completely opposite of me. I was in shock. It was wild. It didn't feel real. I had moments like, where's my baby? Where's Evelyn at? And I'm like, oh, wow. Grief. I believe that grief protects us, right? Just like our brains protect us when we survive trauma. It does not let us feel everything at one time because we would die. And I will say that our brains are extremely efficient at that, sometimes allowing us to forget things for years. But that also means our experience is different around the same trauma. So if you have gone through this, or you know somebody who has, or you just found out, that somebody has, and you want to support them, just remember that grief will look different. And just because somebody is not crying, just because somebody is not angry, just because somebody is not acting how you think they should act, does not mean that they're not grieving or processing what's happening. I think that needs to be understood because we were not meant to lose our babies. As kids, we know as we grow older, like our parents are going to die before us. That's just a fact. It's a fact of life. But literally, no one prepares to lose a child because they are not supposed to die before us. So just support Number 2, every moment of every day afterwards for the rest of our lives, the loss of our babies will be like a shadow. Now, of course, I can't do a blanket statement on everybody because everybody is different. But from what I have seen in firsthand experience, it is like a shallow. It's like a shadow. It may not affect us the same way years later. We may not have the same reactions. May not have like the severe grief, but it is always there. It lingers. It's attached to us, kind of like Peter Pan and his shadow. And it's always kind of tugging at us. And when we see reminders and pictures, special dates, special seasons, a theme that we had picked out for our baby before they were born, like all of these things are triggers. And personally, for me, I cannot go a day without thinking about my baby girl. Her urn is right next to our bed. The nights that are really hard, I hold the urn. I talk to her. Me and Callie, as my older daughter, likes to talk about her all the time because she was so excited that she was getting another sister. But it does not go away. And just because people handle it differently, okay, does not mean that it's not there. I will give you an example. Me and John decided to go to a loss group meeting. We were super nervous. We were very skeptical. We just weren't sure. Finds out we were the only ones who showed up. And the group facilitator had lost her baby 42 years before. 42 years. And for her, it was like it happened yesterday. You could tell by the way that she was telling her story and sharing her daughter with us that it felt like it just happened. So please don't say things like you'll move on or it happens for a reason or anything like that. Don't be the asshole, please. Anyways, okay, number 3. This kind of goes with the first one, or what I said before I started, but no one is taught how to support moms and dads after loss, okay? If you've been through it before, you have an idea, and you can generally kind of navigate that. And I get it. We try to avoid the painful things, but it's serious. Losing a baby is life-shattering. And moms and dads need to be supported past a few weeks. In my personal experience, I gave birth to Evelyn. I held her for like 8 hours and then I wanted to go home. I did not want to be in that hospital anymore. I just couldn't be there. And I got sent home. My husband was on deployment at this time in Japan and trying to figure out how to get him home through Red Cross. So my doula was the one helping me, and then one of my fellow military spouses, we weren't quite friends yet, but she was there with me. She is the only other person who got to hold Evelyn besides me and my nurse. But she supported me. She brought me home. I had my friends over cleaning and bringing me food and things like that this first night I was home. And after that, the next week or two, I was dealing with cremation stuff. And I literally was not checked up on by my doctor. I went to my 6-week appointment so they could be like, yep, good to go. You can have sex now. They didn't really say that, but the 6-week appointment where they just like tell you everything looks good, whatever. And And then I had trouble getting my midwife to give me Zoloft, medication for this depression that I had. And I thought that was shit. Like, are you kidding me? And her reason was that sometimes when people take things like that, like Zoloft, it can get you energized enough to kill yourself, which I understand, but I also know who I am. And I know I just needed a little help, and asking for it was like pulling teeth. I just felt terrible for even having to ask for medicine, and that should not be that way. So some things that were done for me and John, I had friends buy groceries and have them delivered for the girls. I had my friends take my other two girls for play dates and to the park and all these other things to keep them just happy. And it was summer, it was July, so they didn't have school. And I don't know what I would have done without those friends. I don't know what I would have done without them. I had a meal train set up for me, which was life-saving and life-giving. As a mom, if you guys are moms, you know how much trouble it is trying to figure out what to eat every day. On top of just giving birth and losing your baby, the last freaking thing you want to do is worry about dinner. But we need to learn how to support moms and dads afterwards. And that support should be for the parents. Like, I don't know where I was going with that, but let me pause for a minute. Okay, so number 4. Something else you should know about losing a baby, it can cause a financial strain on the family. And this is something I think is bullshit. If you lose a baby and now you have to worry about, missing a car payment or a mortgage payment or paying for a cremation or burial, like, you want this family to choose in their worst moments what they're going to pay for. I think that when babies die, that they should not be paying for their births. I think it should be a loving act of kindness and a gift, because we've already lost so much. It's crazy. We were in financial difficulty. We didn't have a lot of savings. We weren't very good planners then. And so people buying us groceries and doing meal trains and all these things saved us so much. And then finding out how much, it cost. I can't remember the exact amount, but I think we ended up paying like I don't know, like $600 or something. But that's a big chunk of money for a young family. Like, and we don't have family that just has tons of money. And of course we had tons of family members send us money, to help with these things, which was amazing. And because we didn't have the money, there was a wonderful foundation. It's called the Tears Foundation in Washington, and they helped us pay for the cremation and a few other things. We did find out, though, as a military family, because we pay for this thing called the FSGLI. It's like a life insurance policy on our kids and me. They will pay you $10,000 if you have a stillbirth past 22 weeks and a certain weight, which we didn't know. We had no freaking clue. So this was like an insane relief. I still can't even remember, I can't believe that was a real thing. Because it literally made things better. obviously not everything, but yes. Anyways. And then number 5, the final thing that I think everyone should know about losing a baby is that it affects everybody, like in the family, friends, and especially the grandparents, more than you would ever imagine. I will give you a few examples from my life. My dad, as he gets older, he believes that he can save everyone. He is such a loving person, and he wants to help everybody. And I told everybody before I had Evelyn, I'm like, I don't want a bunch of people here. I just want it to be Evelyn and me and the girls. Like, I already know John's going to be gone. And I want it to be us. I don't want to deal with a ton of people. I don't want to have to feel like I have to take care of you, my mom and my dad. And so I was like, give me 2 weeks. Just give me 2 weeks to acclimate after I give birth. And then you guys can come out. Well, my dad, he avoids the entire thing. He will not talk about it to me. He will just not talk about it at all. He believes that he could have saved her. And as much as I love that, most of these cases couldn't have been saved. Everything was fine, right? And then another example is my grandma Irene. I didn't even know this, but she had a third daughter, who was stillborn. And that was in, I want to say, the 1950s or the 1960s. And she gave birth, and they took the baby away and never let her see her, never let her hold her. And thank God things have changed over the last 60, 70, 80 years. I don't even know anymore. But instead of it being hushed up and ignored and treating it like it never happened, and a part of her generational trauma that was uncured and nobody knew. I didn't know. But this brought up those memories for her and all of the loss that she felt and the grief. And it was one of the best conversations I ever had with my grandma. So, yes, I know these things are a little sad, but I also know they need to be talked about. If you guys have anything or any topics in pregnancy loss that you want to talk about, or that you want to know more about, or that you would like my perspective on, send me an email at info@mom. Oh my God, why am I butchering this right now? I can't think right now. Thank you so much for joining me with the Mom on Point podcast. I hope you found some inspiration, some joy, maybe some new information that can help you heal, feel better, or just get through the day. If you've loved the podcast, please like and comment and let me know what you think. I read and respond to all comments personally, and it really helps others discover me who may need my message too. You can also find me on Instagram at vallenweb. You can email me at info.vallenweb@gmail.com. Again, that's info.vallenwebb@gmail.com. Or you can check out my website where I have tons of free resources and freebies at vallenweb.com. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll add all these things on the show notes. Feel free to check them out anytime. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Tuesday.